I've been lucky to always have a pretty prestigious job here in San Diego. Almost a year within moving to San Diego, I started working as a teaching artist at the Old Globe Theater in Balboa Park. So I immediately became a part of the theater community here in town. So like quickly, like I had connections and like life was fine and, you know, all these things. But you know, microaggressions are real and dating has been almost impossible. I have not had an official relationship, like official meaning like we both was claiming each other out in public since I moved here, and that's 10 years. I'll never forget, I was at a club that will remain nameless because it's not the club's fault, but I was talking to this guy and we were having, you know, real nice conversation, and I was like, oh, this is cute. And I was like, oh, well, you know, what's your number? Like, let's hang out sometime. And he was like, oh, sorry, I don't date Black people. And I was like, oh, well, I was just asking for your number, but thank you for letting me know that you're also a racist. So then I don't date racists, so it's cool. But like, I just wanted your number so that we can continue our conversation, but fine. You know, I chalked it off as like, oh, that's an individual, blah, blah. I had been living in Japan for a long time. So like I'd kind of forgotten what racism felt like. I had forgotten what racism looked like. I'd forgotten that was still something that we dealt with here in the United States. I had not experienced it for all of my 20s. I didn't know it still happened, you know? I thought America's this diverse place and we'd moved on past that. And then it happened again. You know, someone's kind of made a comment about not dating Black people. And then a Black person told me they don't date Black people. And that's when I was like, okay, wait a minute, San Diego. We need to have a conversation. What you talking about, Willis? I didn't understand. But that's kind of when I was like, okay, this place is different.
Yeah, dating is shitty. It sucks. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I've had 3 relationships in my life. The first one was puppy love. The second one was a real relationship, but all the guys I have dated in the past has been like the straight down low, but like gangbanger, has kids, baby mama kind of thing, right? Sounds toxic as shit, but it's you know, it's what I'm used to. And so yeah, that was great, but like the other relationship, trash. You know, it's always somehow, some way that conversation, or we don't even get to dating because the conversation turns into my parts. You know, what's operating, what's not, what do I have, what am I keeping, what am I into? Next thing is it turns sexual, you know, and it's like, why is that the first? It's like everybody, they're all like, yeah, we can mess around, we can do this, do that, yada, 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 but I would never be seen in public with you. I would never marry you. I would never bring you home to mom, kind of thing, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's messed up, you know? Like, who wants that, you know? And so it sucks because that's what it is. That's what it comes down to. I've had people all the time say like, oh, we can do all kinds of things and have fun, you know, but as long as it stays behind closed doors, we would never, like, we can't bring it out in the open. And that's a problem for me, you know, because I'm not living in the closet.
Is you want to date me, then you want to date the full of me. You don't get to do this whole halvesies, partial, I'm not a pie. You don't get to take only parts of me. If we doing this, we doing the full situation. And I think that's definitely what has been rough. But in the theme of, you know, being more unapologetic about myself and my identity and not compromising for other people, because, you know, that is very much my right. Hello. I am not about that anymore. I'm like, look, if people want to date me, they're gonna get to know the full me, because I'd rather date somebody who likes me in all parts of me, because I'm not about to halfway show up in a relationship. Girl, this is full or nothing. We're doing full or nothing.
Everyone's looking for like the super stereotype Black man, somebody that's super masculine, at least 5 to 7 inches taller than I am. So everyone seems to be looking for that. Since I'm not that, that's a challenge. And it's not only a challenge on like attracting people that I find attractive, but also it's just like a huge hit on self-esteem. So sometimes I can really get down on myself for that. And like being aware that it's something that I can't control is also, it just makes it more complicated. I'm a very relationship-oriented person, so which is why I hate the apps, but I'm also on the apps. I kind of go in a cycle because the apps are really hookup based, and me and hookups are not a thing. I don't hook up with hookups. And I just don't feel like I will find like my person on an app.
The challenges are the BBC. Everybody knows what BBC is. I don't have to say that. That's an assumption that a lot of men think about us as Black men. You know, we're good enough to sleep with, but we're not good enough to date or invest in or just share those memorable points in our lives. A couple of times I've been out and I've heard it with my own ears. I'll never forget this one guy, he loves Black men, but he didn't realize that we were listening, and his quote was, "We got these niggers in check." That's my reality of what I experience. So it's real. BBC, the first thing they say, and those of us that get on the dating apps, the first thing they say, BBC, BBC, BBC. So you get to the point where you say, if I'm a fetish, please do not contact me.
Oh, I'm not racist, but it's a sexual preference. The weird part is that a lot of those profiles do end up messaging me, but like asking me if I'm hung.
Someone sent me a message, but then they didn't look at my profile picture until later, and then they found out I was Black.
I think I didn't have a picture because it was still loading, and I was brave enough to message someone, and then I sent them my photo, and their response was, ouch.
And I just told them, yes, like every man of my race, we are 10 foot long. We wrap our penises around our legs. It helps us with our fast running and long jumping.
Me and my best friend, we like laugh about it now, but I just remember in that moment how much it hurt and how embarrassed I felt and how small I felt.
He said that I should have known that in words like you don't know how to measure. Maybe you should go back to 2nd grade because I know your family never graduated high school.
The next time you're watching interracial porn and you watch the black guy just unchain his massive Django, I want you to remember that there is no, let me repeat, no correlation between race and penis size.
I was coming into my new confidence in my queerness. I was just kind of dating a little bit of everyone. I wasn't really sure what I was into. I wasn't really sure on my values either. So that was like the beginning introductory of my dating experience in San Diego. But then the more that I started to learn about myself, I started to fine tune the people that I started to date. And I noticed, one, I stopped dating white people, period. Two, even with the non-Black folks that I was dating, we were having more intentional conversations. So I think the theme that I've noticed as dating, not just specifically a Black individual, but a trans individual too, there's a lot of anti-Blackness in San Diego in the dating scene. And then there's colorism. There's a lot of colorism too. So I've experienced being on the dating apps and being super charming and wanting to engage in beautiful conversations with people and being looked over, right? And then I would see my friend who might be Mexican identifying, aesthetically gorgeous or whatever, and those same people get engaged with them, right? So it's and in those ways where they weren't intentionally trying to have a deep conversation, it was just okay, this person's cute, whatever. So I've experienced more challenging attempts at connecting with people romantically in San Diego.
Historically, most all of my exes are white, usually blonde hair women. And I guess it's been hard and it's been difficult for someone who I feel like I get those comments like, oh my gosh, you're so pretty, or like it hasn't necessarily translated in a great dating history. And I like to think I'm pretty cool. I know I have a lot of good things to offer. And so as over the past couple of years, I've started to wonder, does it maybe have something to do with the unconscious bias of being Black in San Diego? I haven't been able to talk to other Black LGBTQ people to see if they've had similar experiences, but when I go out in Hillcrest, whether it be Gossip or Uptown, I really just don't see that many Black people. And so when you start thinking, especially in San Diego, the ideal pretty, whether heterosexual or not, it's white women, white blue-eyed, blonde-haired. So I wonder, why am I attracted to this type of person? Well, I would say I think it's hard to just on a dime switch who I'm attracted to. I do believe some of that is rooted into what society has told us what success looks like. And success looks like a white person. And so I'm not attracted to white men. The next level down would be a white woman. And so I do believe that part of my dating history, that my initial attraction to that in part is due to wanting to have that ideal of success.
I don't know anybody who's trans who has a relationship, you know what I mean? Who's married to somebody. It doesn't give me no hope for the future, you know? Like, granted, everybody's different, but it's like, God damn, there is no dating pool for the trans community, in my opinion. You know, there's a place for you to go get your rocks off, but that's about it. And because it's a fetish, or it's like fantasized, you know, I feel like because we got placed in that category, we will never move out of it. And it sucks. It sucks because like the guys I've come across, it's a fetish, that's it. It's a struggle, you know? And it makes me sad, honestly, because I involved myself in a lot of toxic relationships due to my identity being fetishized. Like the pot calling the kettle black. Okay, sometimes that pot be way blacker than the kettle. So, there is no dating. I don't think I'll ever be in a relationship. Not a happy, progressive, no, I don't think I ever will be. It hurts, you know, because there's no reason why I shouldn't be.
We have so many layers of dysfunction that come from generations to generations that leads us up today to where we don't really feel comfortable dating our own. I've dealt with that in San Diego being a native. So I think it's some internal things that we need to deal with as Black men of why we don't love ourselves. Because when you don't feel that your brothers are sitting next to you is good enough for you to invest and date in, but we do it with everybody else. So I think we got to get back to loving us as brothers and sisters, because it can get very frustrating. I talk to a lot of guys that the biggest problem is that Black men don't love Black men in San Diego. We count them out for generational things that they might be dealing with. We count them out for the dysfunctions that we haven't acknowledged. But why can't we heal each other? Why can't we love each other enough to heal each other?
I met a young man named Eddie Matthews. We just like met out in the neighborhood. I hadn't made a lot of Black gay friends in San Diego at that point, and I had been actively trying to meet more Black gay people in San Diego and like actively trying to make more friends who looked like me and had a similar experience as I did. So when I met Eddie, we had that normal conversation like, well, what do you do in your free time? And he's like, oh, you know, I spend most of my time with the San Diego Black LGBTQ coalition. I was like, wait, what? That sounds official. Like, that sounds real. Like, what's that? Like, where do I get the newsletter? Like, how do I sign up for that? Like, what is this? Not knowing what it was, I just went to the first meeting that they had. And the next thing you know, I was like on some committee for Pride. And then that summer of 2018, there was a leadership change that happened, and it was kind of like either the people around the table step up and take over the leadership of the coalition, or it wouldn't exist anymore. I had this overwhelming sense of, you can't take this away from me now. I finally found you all. Like I finally found my tribe. I finally found my people. I don't want to lose this community. And if that means I have to be the one to keep it going, then so be it. So I served as president of the coalition for the next 2 years. Like, it was a whirlwind. It was a whirlwind journey. And what really compelled me to keep going, even when things were really difficult, was the more I talked to people in our community, I learned that I wasn't the only one who had been looking for this connection. And I promised myself that I would do all that I can so that no other Black person would arrive in San Diego and go looking for community and not find it, because I firsthand knew how important that was.
It's what I wanted when I came here. Just a space where people who are Black and queer can come find resources. So whether it be mental health, whether it be I'm just trying to party, whatever it is, it's just a big hub of resources. And so this group has been instrumental in me finding, Black queer spaces, because it was always either my Blackness or my gayness, and so being a part of the coalition, I can thrive in my intersectionality.
The biggest mission that we had was just letting people know there is indeed a community here. Not just our own community, but letting the greater LGBTQIA plus community know that the Black LGBTQIA community is among you.
The center and the pride office and maybe a few others are like household names, right? There shouldn't be no reason why the LGBTQIA Black Coalition is not one of them. Right. You know what I mean? Like, there should be no reason why certain other resources and groups are not a part of that household name. But, it starts with change, I feel like a lot of people don't accept, or they're not willing to look at the stigma that comes with Hillcrest, which might have a factor on the resources that get spoken on and don't get spoken on. You know what I mean? Or it's available or not available. So it's like they all go hand in hand.
The first thing that people in San Diego and the greater San Diego community needs to recognize is that just because we only make up 6% doesn't mean that we don't need a space.
I think representation matters. And so when I walk into a room, I'm bringing beauty, I'm bringing light, I'm bringing energy, I'm bringing the strength, I'm bringing the ancestors with me, and I just bring color.
I mean, for starters, being Black, it's for lack of, it means being the shit, to be honest, because we are.
What does it mean to be Black? For me, it means being proud of what Black people, specifically Black women, what we're capable of, and knowing that we're really badass and we do amazing things. I have spent so much of my life wishing I had blonde hair. Why couldn't my hair be straight? Why did I have to not go swimming? Why didn't I feel like I fit in? And now that I'm 30, I feel like, no. Black people are so cool. I wouldn't want to check any other box